Welcome to Module 1.4, GDPR's Global Impact. While the General Data Protection Regulation GDPR was introduced as an EU regulation, its influence extends far beyond European borders. GDPR has set a new global standard for data privacy and security, shaping how organizations worldwide approach transparency, accountability, and personal data protection. Since its enforcement in May 2018, businesses outside the EU that process personal data of EU residents must also comply, making GDPR a truly international framework. This extraterritorial reach means that companies operating in different countries must align with GDPR principles, regardless of where they are based. GDPR has also inspired new data protection laws in other regions, including California's CCPA, Brazil's LGPD, and Japan's APPI. These regulations share common principles with GDPR, demonstrating its role as a benchmark for global data protection. As organizations navigate these evolving compliance requirements, GDPR remains a key influence in shaping international data privacy laws. Let's dive into more detail now. One of the most far-reaching aspects of GDPR is its extraterritorial applicability. Unlike many legal frameworks, which apply only within their geographical boundaries, GDPR extends beyond the EU, affecting businesses worldwide. Any organization that collects or processes the personal data of EU residents is subject to GDPR, regardless of where it is based. This applies to non-EU businesses in two main scenarios. 1. If they offer goods or services to EU residents. 2. If they monitor the behavior of individuals in the EU, such as through website tracking or targeted advertising. For example, an online retailer outside the EU that sells products to European customers must comply with GDPR. Similarly, a company running digital ads targeted at EU users or a website that tracks EU visitors using cookies falls under its jurisdiction. This global reach is crucial for ensuring that EU citizens' data is protected, even if it is processed outside EU borders. However, it also creates significant compliance challenges for international companies, many of which have had to revise their global data protection policies to align with GDPR standards. GDPR is enforced by supervisory authorities within each EU member state. However, ensuring compliance beyond the EU requires international cooperation and legal frameworks to hold non-EU companies accountable. Supervisory authorities can impose significant fines, up to €20 million or 4% of global annual turnover, on companies that fail to comply. However, the practical enforcement of these fines in non-EU jurisdictions can be challenging. Some countries lack the legal infrastructure to enforce GDPR penalties, while others have national laws that conflict with GDPR's requirements. This means that while GDPR has legal reach beyond the EU, its global enforcement still faces challenges. Beyond enforcement challenges, many businesses struggle to balance GDPR compliance with local data protection laws. For example, China requires data to be stored locally, which can conflict with GDPR's cross-border data transfer requirements. Companies operating globally must navigate these legal conflicts, ensuring they comply with GDPR without violating local regulations. Additionally, businesses using cloud-based services often process data across multiple jurisdictions, making it even more complex to ensure compliance. As global privacy laws continue to evolve, organizations must regularly update their data handling policies to stay aligned with GDPR and other regional regulations. Despite enforcement and compliance challenges, GDPR has significantly influenced global data protection laws. As mentioned before, countries like Brazil, Japan, and California have introduced GDPR-like privacy regulations, showing a trend toward global harmonization in data protection. For organizations, GDPR compliance is not a one-time process. Businesses must continuously monitor legal changes, update their privacy policies, and adapt to new regulations to remain compliant in an ever-evolving data protection landscape.